Hello all and welcome back to my channel. My name is Pandey, and in this module I will be covering end-to-end management of feature updates for Windows 10 through Intune. In previous module we talked about end-to-end management of update ring for Windows 10 and later for quality update. In this module I will be covering what is feature update and its prerequisites, how to configure telemetry and health monitoring data. Then we will discuss about the settings in Windows feature update deployment, what is the backend process of Windows feature update deployment, and then limitations of feature update for Windows 10 and later policies. Then we will talk about feature update basic troubleshooting, and then I will perform the testing in lab environment. Now let's discuss what is feature updates. So feature updates are technically new versions of Windows 10 which becomes available twice a year, roughly every 6 months during spring and fall. Feature updates, previously referred as upgrade. Feature updates contain not only security and quality revisions but also significant feature additions and changes. Feature upgrades are released as soon as they become available. It's upgrading the operating system version without impacting the installed application and other configurations. With feature upgrade or update, we need very less downtime to upgrade the operating system, and user can also control the system reboot, which will increase the user productivity. So some of the common advantage of feature upgrades are increased features. So feature updates often added additional features or application to an existing program. For an example, an email program feature update may include new email templates. This addition update program and make it more useful for users. Feature upgrades provide updated software. So feature updates often remove out of date part of the program and replaces them with a newer, highly functional version. This helps to ensure that your operating system is running the latest version of any software you are using. Feature update help in protecting the data. For most people keep a lot of personal information on their computer, tablets and mobile phones. For example, bank account, credit card and personal emails. This information is not only valuable to you but also to cyber criminals. They get hold of your personal information, they can sell it to others or use it to commit crimes in your name. They can also commit a ransomware attack in which they encrypt your device and will not release it to you until you pay them. Installing feature update can prevent this from happening. Now let's talk about the Windows feature update prerequisites. When an organization starts the implementation of Windows feature update policies, then the following prerequisites should be met. So in addition to the license for Intune, organization must have one of the following subscription. They should either have Windows 10 or 11 Enterprise E3 or E5 license, which is a part of Microsoft 365 M-5.3 E3 or E5 subscription, or they have Windows 10 or 11 Education A3 or A5 license, which is a part of Microsoft 365 A3 or A5 subscription, or they have Windows 10 or 11 virtual desktop access per user, or they should have Microsoft 365 Business Premium. With respect to device related prerequisite, the system should be running on Windows 10 or Windows 11 that are remain in the supported version. Device should be enrolled in MDM and should be either in hybrid Azure design or Azure design. The device should have telemetry data turned on with the minimum setting of required. We can configure the telemetry data as part of device restriction policies for Windows 10 or later, and to configure the telemetry data we have to create a device restriction policies. Under reporting and telemetry configuration, we have to select the share users data with a minimum value of required. We have to ensure that the Microsoft Account sign-in assistant must be able to run. This is a service. If the service is blocked or set to disable, it fails to receive the update. By default, the service is set to manually trigger start, which allow it to run when needed. The next one is the feature updates are supported the following Windows 10 or Windows 11. Device should be either on Windows 10 or Windows 11 Pro or Enterprise or Pro Education or Education. Now let's see how we can enable a telemetry data or device diagnostic data. So to enable a device diagnostic data, we have to create a configuration profile called device restriction. And when we are going to create a device restriction profile, we have to ensure that a shared users data under reporting and telemetry is set to required. We have other option also called enhance and optional, but for using enhance option, device must be on 1903 or earlier version. Once the telemetry data is created and deployed on the devices, we can see the same thing, diagnostic and feedback section, where we can see that the required button is on, and the same thing we can verify under registry also, where under HKLM software policies, Microsoft Windows and the data collection, we can see that allow telemetry data is on and the value is set to 1, which means it is set for required. Now let's see how we can configure the health monitoring data. To configure the health monitoring data, we have to create a configuration profile for Windows 10 or later, and we have to select the Windows Health Monitoring template. And under Windows Health Monitoring template, we have to enable the health monitoring, and the scope should be enabled for Windows Update. We have to deploy this health monitoring data policy to the required devices. Once the device is receiving those health monitoring policies, and we can validate the same thing under policies, that Windows health monitoring policies applied on the devices, and the same thing we can validate under the registry also, where the for checking the registry we have to go to the HKLM software, Microsoft, and then policy manager, then current devices, and then device health monitoring. Under this we can see that the configure device health monitoring scope is selected, and this is set for Windows Update. Now the device is ready to send the health monitoring data to the Microsoft. Now let's see how to create a feature update deployment policy. So to create a feature update deployment policy, we have to go to the Microsoft Endpoint Manager Admin Center portal. Under this we have to go to select the devices, and under devices we have to go to the policies, and we have to create a feature update for Windows 10 or later policy. And creating a policy, we have to give a name, and then we have to select which version, feature upgrade version we want to target. So here we can only see all the supported addition version. Any end of life version is feature update version is not visible here. So as of now we can see that we have 20H2, 21H1, Windows 11, and 21H2 and 22H2 also. Okay, so based on your requirement you can select a feature upgrade version, and then you can select the rollout option also. So as of now we have 3 options. If you want to make available as soon as possible, you can select the very first one. If you want to schedule the update rollout, you can select the second option. And if you want to deploy the update in a gradually in a phase manner, then you can select the third option. So then you have to create the assignment, and you have to deploy this feature update deployment policy to the specific group, and then create it. Once you have created this policy, we can see that here the policy is created, and this is assigned also. And we have to ensure that that policy should be assigned and should be supported also. If that is not assigned or not supported, then that is not going to work. Now let's talk about the feature update backend process. So we already discussed the backend process of quality update in the previous module, where we discussed that when we are creating updating policy and deploying it to the devices, then the Windows update policy is delivered to the device through MDM channel, and the MDM policy is configuring the Windows update client and user experience via the registry changes. And we can also check the registry to verify the updates policy setting. But in case of feature update, when we are creating and deploying the feature update policy to the group of devices, then those policies are not delivered to the Windows 10 devices. Instead of that, Intune is sharing the policy information to the DDS service and Windows Update service. And a similar kind of policy is created in DDS or Windows Update services. And when the device is scanning the required feature update against the Windows Update service, then the window update is already know what feature update they should offer to the device, as well as what feature update they should not offer to the device based on the feature update policy we created in the Intune portal. Now let's understand the same thing with the help of this flowchart. So we know that the very first requirement is to create a telemetry policy as well as the health monitoring policy and deploy it from Intune to the required devices. So as an administrator, we are going to create a telemetry policy and Windows health monitoring policy and deploy from the Intune to all the required devices. Now once the policy reaches to devices, telemetry setting applied on the devices as well as configured in the Windows machine. Now machine is ready to send their telemetry and Windows health monitoring data to the Windows Updates service along with the Azure Active Directory ID. So once the machine is sending their data, telemetry data to the Windows Update service, Windows Update service stored all those information for their further action. This will help us to understand whether the machine is compatible with the new operating system or not. And based on that, Windows Update service is applying the safeguard hold. Now at this point of time, telemetry data and the health monitoring policy is configured on the device. Machine is sending those information to the Windows Update service and Windows Update service saving all those information for further analysis. Now admin is going to create a feature update policy for, let's say for example, they are going to create a feature update policy for 20S2 and they're going to deploy those policy to the required devices. Now when we are creating a policy and deploying to the devices, we need to ensure that the version which we are selecting is the supported version, feature update version is supported, as well as the policy is assigned. Now once this is done, Intune is going to share the policy configuration and the required information, device information, to the DDS service, and the similar policies created in the Windows. Now Intune is going to share the information to the DDS service, and DDS service is saving those policy configuration information and use it while offering the update. Now at this point of time, Windows Update also know that for XYZ machine they should not offer XYZ feature update. Now as part of normal scanning process, machine is going to scan against the Windows Update excluding the safeguard hold, and once the machine reach out to the Windows Update for scanning, Windows Update offers the applicable feature update with rollout option, the same configuration we created in the Intune portal. Now once the machine is receiving those configuration, then the device is going to install the feature upgrade and reboot the system as per the rollout option. Now once the device is up, machine is upgraded to the latest version, device will send the status to the Windows Update and Windows Update will send this to the Intune for further reporting, and that we can see the same information in the Intune reporting. Now let's discuss about the limitations for feature update for Windows 10 and later policy. So the very first limitation is that when we deploy a feature update for Windows 10 and later policy to a device that already receives an update ring for Windows 10 and later policy, we must review the update ring for following configuration. Now the very first recommended configuration is that feature update deferral policy is set to 0. This configuration ensures your feature updates are not delayed by update referral that might be configured in any update policy. So we need to ensure that when we are creating a Windows update ring policy, then this feature update referral policy should not be more than 0. And the second one is that feature update for the updating must be running and that they must not be paused. Okay, we need to ensure that that feature update is also assigned and that should not be in pause state. And the second limitation is that feature update for Windows 10 and later policy cannot be applied during the autopilot out of box experience. Instead, the policy applied at the first window update scan after a device has finished provisioning, which is typically a day. Now the next limitation is when we use co-managed device with configuration manager. Feature update policy might not immediately take effect on device when you newly configure the Windows update policy workload to Intune. This delay is temporary but can initially result in device updating to a latest feature update version than is configured in the policy. So to prevent the initial delay for impacting your co-managed devices, we have to go to the Microsoft Endpoint Manager Admin Center portal under devices. We have to go to the Windows and then feature update for Windows 10 and later, and we have to create a policy. Complete the policy configuration, including assigning the policy to the devices. And then once the policy is created, we have to monitor the report for the policy assignment. So do that, we have to go to the reports and under reports Windows update, and then we have to go to the report tabs, and there is a report called feature update report, and we have to select that report and generate that report. So when we are generating the report, we can see that the device status should be offer ready or later, device enroll for feature update and protected. We can safely change the Windows update policy workload from configuration manager to Intune. Now the next limitation is when the device checks into the Windows update service, the devices group membership is validated against the security group assigned to the feature update policy setting for any feature update hold. Then managed device that receives feature update policy are automatically enrolled with the Windows update for business deployment service. The deployment service manages the update a device receive. The service is utilized by Microsoft Endpoint Manager and works with your Intune policy for Windows update to deploy feature update to the device. When a device is no longer assigned to any feature update policy, Intune waits 90 days to unroll that device from feature update management and unenroll that device from deployment service. This delay allows time to assign the device to a different policy and ensure that in the meantime the device does not receive a feature update that was not intended. Now this means that when a feature update policy is no longer applied to a device, then the device won't be offered any feature update until one of the following happens. 90 days lapse, the device is assigned to a new feature update policy. The device is unenrolled from Intune, which unenroll the device from feature update management by deployment service. And you use the Windows update for business deployment service graph API to remove the device from feature update management. And the last limitation is to keep a device at its current feature update version and prevent it from being unenrolled and update to the most recent feature update version. Ensure that a device remains assigned to a feature update policy that specifies the device current Windows version. Now let's check some of the points when we have multiple policy assigned on the single device. So each Windows feature update policy supports a single update. When a device is targeted by more than one policy, it might be targeted with multiple update versions. The Windows update service can only offer a device one feature update at a time and always offer the latest update version that targets the device. Because Windows 11 updates are considered to be the latest version than Windows 10, the service always offers the Windows 11 update to a device targeted by both Windows 10 and Windows 11 update. This is done because deploying a Windows 11 update to a supported upgrade path. The Windows Update for Business Deployment service cannot determine that a device cannot run Windows 11. Therefore, if a Windows 10 device that cannot run Windows 11 is targeted with the Windows 11 update, Windows 10 update will not be offered automatically. In this case, remove the non-eligible device from the Windows 11 policy and assign the device to a Windows 10 feature update policy. Now let's discuss what is safeguard hold. So safeguard holds prevents a device with a known issue for being offered a new operating system version. Microsoft renew this offering once a fix is found and verified. Microsoft use hold to ensure customers have a successful experience as their device move to a new version of Windows client. Microsoft uses quality and compatibility data to identify issues that might cause a Windows client feature upgrade, failed, or rollback. When Microsoft finds such an issue, Microsoft might apply safeguard hold to the updating service to prevent affecting device from installing the update in order to safeguard them for these experience. The lifespan of safeguard hold varies depending on the time required to investigate or fix an issue. During the time, Microsoft works diligently to procure, develop and validate a fix and then offer it to affected devices. Microsoft monitor quality and compatibility data to confirm that a fix is completed before releasing the safeguard hold. Once the Microsoft releases the safeguard hold, Windows Update will resume offering new operating system version to the devices. Safeguard holds only affects devices that use the Windows Update service for updates such as Windows Update for Business Deployment service. Admin can use update compliance to monitor various update health metrics for device in their organization. Update compliance provides a safeguard hold report as well as queries in the feature update status reports to provide you insight into the safeguard holds that are preventing device from updating or upgrading. Admin can opt out the safeguard hold protection by using the disable safeguard policy. In MDM tool, we can use update disable WSUS safeguard CSP, and in group policy we can use disable safeguard for feature upgrade group policy. Now let's see how we can troubleshoot the feature update failures. So because when we are creating a feature update deployment, so on machine we are not going to deploy any policies. With respect to feature update troubleshooting, we have to ensure that the prerequisites should be met, like user should have a Intune license, a valid M-365 subscription for Windows 10 and Windows 11 should be there. Device should be on a version of Windows 10 or 11 that remains in support. Device must be enrolled in Intune and should be either hybrid as already joined or as already joined. Device telemetry data should be turned on with the minimum setting of required, and device health monitoring should be enabled. We need to ensure that the Microsoft account sign-in assistant service must be either in running mode or must be able to run. Deployment should be applied on the device and deployment should not be in the pause state. Feature update deferral period should be set to 0 in updating policies, and machine should not be in safeguard hold state. Once we are able to verify all the prerequisites are in place, and if we are getting the error while installing the feature upgrade, then we can track those information either in event viewer logs as well as in Windows Update logs. Now let's see how to configure the telemetry data. So to configure the telemetry data, we have to create a device restriction policy in admin center portal. But before that, I'll show you what is the current configuration in this device. So this is my test PC where I'm going to perform the test. So I'm going to open all settings, and under all settings we have a privacy option, and then we have a diagnostic and feedback option. Here we can see that the diagnostic data is now currently configured as an optional diagnostic data. I am going to configure this the required diagnostic data, which is the minimum requirement when we are creating a updating policy. So to configure this, I am going to log into the Microsoft Admin Center portal, and then under devices we have to go to the configuration profile. Then we have to create a configuration profile, and I am going to select the platform Windows 10 and later, and the profile type is template, and then under template we have a device restriction template. I have to go to create. I'm going to give the name diagnostic data and click next. Under configuration we have to go to reporting and telemetry, and under users share users data we have to configure it to required, and then we have to click next and assign it to all devices, and if you want you can assign it to some group also. For now I am going to assign it to all devices. I'm going to create next, and then policy is now created and assigned. Now I am going to enroll this device in Intune. For that I am going to access school and work, and then going to click on connect, and then I'm going to join this device in Azure AD, and then username and password. Going to join this device. Now device is connected to my tenant, and now device is enrolled in Intune. Now we can see that the policy is assigned to the device, and we'll check that whether the telemetry data is set to required or not. For that again I'm going to click on home button, and then privacy setting, and under diagnostics and feedback now we can see that that telemetry data is set to required for device, and the same thing we can validate in the registry also. So for opening a registry we have to go to HKLM software policy, and then Microsoft, and then Windows we have data collection policy, and we can see that allow telemetry data is set to 1, and now my machine is configured to send their telemetry data. Now let's see how to configure the device health monitoring policy. So right now I'm on my client PC. I'm going to show you the current configuration of my device. So for that I am going to show you the account part under access work or school. Under information button in policies we can see that I don't have any device health monitoring policy applied on this device, and the same thing we can check under registry as well. Under registry if you go to the software Microsoft, then policy manager, and then under policy manager current, then under devices, under I don't have any device health monitoring policy registry key applied on this. Now I am going to create a policy. For that I am going to log in. Now I am on Microsoft Endpoint Manager Admin Center portal, and to create a configuration profile we have to go to the devices. Under devices we have to go to policies. Under policies we have a configuration profiles, and then we have to create a profile. For that I have to click on create profile, and then in platform we have to select Windows 10 and later, and the profile type should be template. Under templates we have a template called Windows Health Monitoring template, and then we have to select it and click create. Now we need to give a name of this policy. I am going to give same name, Windows Health Monitoring, and then click next. Here we have to select the health monitoring's configuration. I'm going to select is enable, and under scope we have to select the Windows update, and then click next. and then assign to all devices or a specific group of devices. For now I am going to assign to all devices, and then next, and then next I'm going to create it, and then policy is now created, and it's showing here also. In some time we can see the same policy is applied on the device. To initiate a process, I'm going to initiate a sync. For that I'm going to click on devices, and this is my test device, and then we have to click on sync option and then synchronize. Now sync is already initiated. Now let's see if the policy is applied on the device or not. To check this policy is applied on the device or not, I am going to open all settings, and then under accounts, access work or school, and then click on information button, and we can see that device health monitoring policy is now applied on the device. And same thing we can verify using registry also. So on the registry, for under HKLM software, Microsoft, and then policy manager, under policy manager current, under devices we have a new folder called device health monitoring, and under device health monitoring we can see that the device health monitoring scope is set for Windows Update. Now let's see how to create a feature upgrade policy. Before that I want to show you my current configuration of my client PC where I'm going to test. So to show you that, first I will show you what is the Windows version on my device, and we can see that my machine is on 20H2, and this is a supported edition also, Windows 10 Pro operating system. Let's create a policy. To do that I am going to click on devices, and under devices, under policy we have to use feature upgrade for Windows 10 and later policy. But before that we want to ensure that under update ring for Windows 10 and later, any ring policy should not have the configuration where the feature upgrade default is showing more than 0. So we have to modify it, and I'm going to modify it, and I'm going to change it to 0 and save it. Now the update ring policy is also set to 0 for feature update default period. Now we can create a feature update for Windows 10 and later policy. For that I'm going to create a policy, and then I'm going to create a policy for 21H2, and under feature update to deploy I'm going to select Windows 10 21H2, and then I want to make it available as soon as possible. If you want, you can select the specific date or update available in a gradual manner. For now I am going to select as soon as possible, and under this assignment I am going to select the test group. In this test group my test machine is already there, and I'm going to click on create, and then policy is now created. Now we can see that the policy is assigned, and it's also showing a supported version. Now we can see this the deployment status using the report also. So for that we have to go to the report section. Under device management section we have a Windows update, and under this we want to fetch a report for Windows feature update. Then we have to select a specific feature update against which we want to create a report. For now we cannot see that 21H2 deployment. We have to wait for some time, and after that we can see that, and we can generate a report. Now after some time, let's see if the report is showing any status or not. For that again I am going to click on my 20H2 deployment, and then I'm going to click on run, generate a report. Now we can see that all my 3 devices is getting a offer ready, and the update aggregate status is in progress. In some time machine is going to download the feature update and then going to install the feature update. Now we can see that the feature upgrade for Windows 10 21H2 is available for the device, and it started downloading the feature upgrade. Now it started installing the feature upgrade for 21H2. Now we can see that the feature update for Windows 10 21s2 is installed on this device, and its status is showing pending for reboot, and user is also getting a reboot notification where user can either pick a time to choose their reboot time, or they can schedule the reboot for tonight, or they can select the restart now to reboot the system immediately. For now, I am going to select the restart now option to reboot this device. Now I am going to log in with my Azure Active Directory credential. Now system is back and online. Let's see if Windows version is upgraded or not. To check the version, I am going to open WinVer utility, and we can see that the machine is upgraded to 21s2. We can also verify the same thing in event viewer log also. To see that, I'm going to open an event viewer log, and then under Windows log, I'm going to click on systems log, and then I'm going to filter this using filter option, and the event source is Windows Update Client. I am going to run it, and the very first line is saying that Windows successfully installed the following update, and the update name is Feature Update to Windows 10 version 21s2. We can also see that some of the update here. We can see that Windows had started installing the following update, so we can track all these information under this. Now let's see if the status is updated in Intune reporting or not. To check this, I am going to open Endpoint Manager Admin Center portal, and under reporting and under Windows Update, click on Feature Update Report. I am going to select 21s2 Feature Update Deployment Policy, and I'm going to generate a report. Now we can see that in Intune report is saying that update is installing and reboot required, and it's still in progress. So it may take some time to update the status. Now after half an hour, I can see that the status is updated in the report, and we can see that out of 3 devices, 1 device is showing success, and in under the update status, the status is showing installed, and the sub status is update installed, and the aggregate is success. I hope this is an informative video for you. Thank you very much for watching this video.